Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What's Your Next, the show that challenges the idea that your current path is your final one. I'm Stacy Riska, your lifestyle and franchise matchmaker, here to help you do what you love and love what you do. Most people think that entrepreneurship is something that starts with a perfect idea and having a clear path forward. But the reality is, it usually starts with a pivot, and sometimes several of them. And my guest today is Jay Sapovitz. Did I say that
Not even close.
Great. Well, that JS. No,
Yeah,
everybody
Sapovitz,
knows.
Sapovitz, Stacy. It's all good. I,
Right.
I've had okay, a little close. I've had my name mispronounced my entire life. Trust me, not a big deal.
Just go by Jay.
I
That's
go
easy
by
to
Jay.
remember.
Yeah, for sure. I
Well,
go by Jay Sap. It's tough
Joe,
to
love it.
it's
Easy.
it's tough to mispronounce Sap.
I can do that one. Jay Sap. All
Jay
right.
Sap.
So I have here on my notes, you were a sports radio host turned
Yes.
serial entrepreneur. You have
Mm.
experience in private aviation, professional sports, and now branded merchandise.
Welcome to What's Your Next. This is the go-to podcast for aspiring business owners who want to get to the next level, escape the rat race, and give their middle finger to the corporate 9 to 5. If you want financial freedom, work-life balance, and the business of your dreams, you're in the right place. Dave and Stacy Riska, husband-wife franchising duo, openly share their successes, failures, and lessons learned in franchising, business ownership, and working with your spouse.
And the founder of Ink Stores. So we got to dive into this because usually when people take an entrepreneurial path, it's one path and they kind of follow that. But yours has veered in many directions. Kind of take us back. Like, did you start with a lemonade stand? Tell us about your entrepreneurial journey.
I have a short attention span. I think that's the issue. I'm activity prone, right? So I've always been action first, and I just have a variety of interests, and life for me has been curvy. Uh, so nothing has been planned. I've seen opportunities and I've attacked them. And that's really what it's come down to for me, and gotten lucky along the way, to have some things happen that, there could have been no forecasting towards. So, yeah, my journey's not a typical journey, but no one's journey is typical. It's just theirs. So everybody gets to where they get to in their own way, and I'm no different than that.
Well, let's start at the beginning of the road because did something happen one day where you said, you know what, I'm not cut out for corporate world. I'm going to forge my own path. Like, what made you decide to go the entrepreneurial route?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple, actually. I mean, I'm a guy who sent 1 billion resumes in my life and never gotten a job interview.
You're unemployable.
Well, I've never gotten a job interview.
Oh,
I have never once sent a resume to somebody that I don't know and had them reply back to me asking to speak with me. Now, I happen to think I'm an exceptional person from a work standpoint. I mean, I've kind of built a multi-million-dollar business, so I think it's been proven out, and multiple of them. So I don't say that arrogantly, but I would apply to jobs and nobody would get back to me over and over and over and over and over again. And so I just went my own route. And, I've gotten every job I've had through interpersonal contact and relationships, almost cold calling or a sales process.
mm-hmm.
And that's the truth since the age of 14. So I don't know if anyone else has ever had that journey, but I can tell you it's definitely impacted the way that I hire now and how I think about hiring, for sure. Right. But that's kind of how it happened. I mean, I've always worked. I've always had multiple jobs. I started in a I did an experiment for LinkedIn. I posted the jobs that I've had. I was a horse groom. I worked at Friendly's as a line cook. My first job ever was a dishwasher at Hank's Diner. I was, well, the worst job I ever had. I was a farmhand in a greenhouse this is seasonal work, Easter flower shipments, like hacienda flower, like the hydrant, the flowers they ship. Forget it, the worst. On your knees, packing flowers in the dirt, real manual labor and hard. So yeah, I mean, those are things I've done. And then I became an ice hockey referee. I mean, these are all before I went to college. So I've always worked. I've always had this insane work ethic and desire for money, which was in some ways fueled by, my early in life addiction to gambling, because I needed money to keep which was the fuel to keep me going on that path. But even when I got to college, I walked across the street and got a job at a dry cleaners. And it was just so happened to be the dry cleaners to the stars. We did Liberace's clothes and J.J. Walker, if you remember J.J. Walker, Dynamite. We did the Las Vegas Strip. We had 6-7 accounts there, Caesars and Bally's and all the big account. And the executives would come in from the major shops. And I created relationships through that experience. And through that experience ended up traveling, getting a job in radio with the UNLV basketball team as the radio producer engineer. And so I traveled with the great UNLV teams of 89, 90, 90, 91, Larry Johnson and Stacey Augman. And I was exposed to celebrity in action because of a job at the dry cleaners. So, yeah, I've always been kind of on the bit and working, and to use a horse term. And I've always been super active and activity-based. And when I was in college, got a job working as a radio talk show host because I was the sports director of the campus radio station. And that led to my first job ever on the air in Philadelphia, which is a top 5 market on a top 5 station. And that's where I got my start at 23 years old. And, again, that was through a relationship. The guy who was hired to do overnights, Rod Stoll, was doing 5 nights a week with his partner, Ray, and Rod and Ray Show. And they needed somebody to fill in the other 2 nights. So they called me and I got the job to fill in the other 2 nights. I ended up picking up 2 or 3 other shifts. And here I was at 23 years old on air in the city that I grew up as this is 1995. There's no internet. There's no streaming, right? Stacey Riska doesn't have a channel to get her voice out, right? Unless she's on the radio. And that was my first kind of professional job.
You were an early influencer, and you have a great radio voice.
Thanks. Yeah, and face. I was an early influencer, but then at 25, I really needed to change my lifestyle. I was too deep into my the things that haunted me. I needed to change my ways. Got into recovery, and then no longer felt like I was capable of giving my opinion on sports in safety. So left that job to basically take what I called my recovery job. And that came from walking into a golf course and asking if they were hiring. And they told me the only thing they were hiring for was outside services. So at 25 years old, college graduate, talk show host in the city that I was applying to be a outside services person at a golf course. I took the job for $7 an hour and ended up sitting in a shack with high school kids for a summer until I could clear my mind. And that proved to be, I think sometimes we get caught up in this concept of always moving forward. And the truth is, I would not have been moving forward in my life if I didn't take a breath and take a step back and really suppress my ego and take a job that completely was beneath my skill set. But what happened was I was working outside services for $7 an hour plus tips. And when you work for tips, which I had also done in Vegas as a valet parking attendant at the Barbary Coast, which was cool, on the strip across from Caesars. And I was there the night the dunes got ripped down, which was interesting. You see gaps in the schedule. So I identified gaps in the schedule when I built what I now know to be my first ever business plan and presented it to the general manager of the golf club, which was for me to take the people that I had been servicing, pulling their clubs out of their cars, caddying, the driving range, to take the customers of this golf course, call them, and sell small groups in times that were unsold. I mean, this was long before Golf Now existed. I should have invented that.
There was no app for that. Yeah.
There weren't any of those services. So you just had to dial for dollars. And they hired me out of the cart barn to start dialing for dollars. And when I started dialing for dollars, we increased the revenue of the club. There was more money to be had for everybody. And then from there, I used my experience, again, being observational, that one of my major clients was Pico Energy, which was deregulating, and it was becoming Exelon Energy. And this was, they needed a vehicle to market themselves. And they were the presenting sponsor, which is kind of a subjugated role to the title sponsor of a senior PGA Tour event, which was down the street at a competitive club. Well, I've always had a little chip on my shoulder, and I've always been competitive. And I basically said to the folks at Pico, I said, hey, seems simple to me. Like, you could have a title sponsorship of your own event and we could do it here, or you could be the second to the phone company, because it was called the Bell Atlantic Classic. And they loved the idea of being first, being the title sponsor. And I created a one-day skins game in the professional golf world called the Exelon Invitational, and then cold called a bunch of sports agents until I finally got one to agree to meet with me. And he met with me. He happened to be Jim Furyk's agent. Jim was not the star he is today, but he was just a young golfer who was on the star path, also from the area. And we ended up marrying Exelon, which was the new company that Pico was emerging to, Jim Furyk, and the golf course that I was at. And it became an event called the Exelon Invitational, hosted by Jim Furyk. The event lasted 10 years. I sold my interest in it in year 3.5, so year 4, really. And at the time was ready to move up to New England because I had met a woman and she wanted to get married. We had a baby, we were married, excuse me. We had a baby, and she wanted to get home. So Furyk's agent, who's now, a dear friend of mine, Andrew Whitlieb, and now the president of the company, and he's a wild success and terrific human, introduced me to my now current partner, Kenny D, who is an incredible entrepreneur and founded a company called Marquee Jet with Jesse Itzler, who many people know as well. And Kenny said to me, he said, listen, he goes, I can get you up to Boston. All you got to do is go meet with who's going to be the chairman of the company. And I met with the chairman of the company. He liked me. I liked him. And I was one of the first 15 employees. And 4.5 years later, Marquee Jet hit $1 billion in sales. So that was a run like you've never imagined or couldn't imagine. And again, I can kind of trace it. I can trace it all back to the dry cleaners. I can trace it back to the relationships that I formed in Las Vegas, which got me back to Philadelphia, my recovery, which got me into a cart shack.
Yeah.
the visualization of gaps, knowing that I work on tips, which came from my time in a valet stand in Vegas. It's all interconnected. So, don't sleep on your experience. Like, don't think that the experiences that you haven't had don't have value in where you're going. They do. You just have to sit with them and allow them to allow yourself to really understand what it is you were learning at the time, right? I mean, it's very easy. Listen, there's guys who sit in a valet stand in Las Vegas, and they don't think twice about it when they walk out of the valet stand, right? That's not the way I went about that experience, right? I went about that experience, and it was the first 2 hours were busy, the last 2 hours were busy. We have some runs in the middle, but there's mostly gaps. Like, boy, what could we do if we could fill those gaps? Well, I didn't know that was going to come into handy in my later life, but it did. So, be retrospective and introspect and find out, think about, I'll give you an example, right? I knew I was never going to be a laborer after I worked one Easter.
Yeah. That sounds clear. Yeah. You're like, right. I'm never doing that again.
Well, sure. But there's people who go through that experience and they're unfazed by it, and they end up finding themselves being a laborer.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just think that being an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to be incredibly observant to your own world and your own life and your own experiences, and honest. Where the quote on your wall, do what you love what you do. I mean, forget the bottom part. Forget the bottom part. Do what you love. Because if you do what you love, that's it. You're going to love what you do. The bottom part's automatic if you do what you love. It's not, and by the way, like, doing what you love is actually meaning it's do what you're good at.
Yeah.
Because if you're not good at it and you love it, like, that's not going to help you, and it's going to end up not. That's why so many people fail when they go into their hobbies, right? Like, I love golfing, so I'm gonna be a golf professional. Well, now you end up standing in a pro shop, and how do you like the career that you like when you would have rather just been a salesperson and played golf, or been a pharmaceutical salesperson and then played golf 5 days a week, or so where do you want to be? What's the best path there? I'll give you another example. Like, so you deal with a lot of people who are moving into the franchise world, right?
Right.
Okay. I'd be a terrible franchisee.
Yes, clearly. But that's good. You have clarity and you know that.
1,000%. Whereas I have buddies who told me all I want to do in my retirement is own a franchise, because they're great operators. And to be a great franchisee, you need to be a great operator, because the system is built, right? I love building the system. That's what I love. I'm a 0 to 1 guy. I have nothing. I create something. That's what I do. As far as operating and managing that something, I struggle. And I've struggled to get my business to 8 figures. As the lead, right? I mean, Marquee Jet, we went to $1 billion, but I wasn't the lead there, right? I was on the team. I was early. I was entrepreneurial. I was a valuable part, right? But I wasn't the lead. I struggle with getting to 8 figures as the lead. I think we will, but I struggle with it because it's not inherent to me to scale or to operate the business. I have to have people around me, and I've got to do things that are extremely uncomfortable for me, right? So when you're talking about like your world, which is if it's a franchise world, there's people who just like, they can't think of an idea to say, like, it's not, here's what I promise you, it's not the idea. It's never the idea. Like, you can have an idea that's terrible and you will fail, but you don't have to have an idea. Just open up. I mean, you can have a pizza, like the promotional business, I call it the pizza business. Because there's 10 pizza shops inside of 2 miles from where I'm at right now.
Right.
I only service 3 of them. Right. I only order from 3 of them. Right. Taste, service, price, convenience, and the other 7 or whatever. And the promotional business is similar. I mean, there's a lot of people in this business. And I tell folks all the time, like, if you have someone that you trust and they get back to you and they do good work and they're of quality, stay with them. We're hard to find. There's more people who make bad pizza than make good pizza. There's more people who make bad promo than good promo.
Yeah.
So, it's not the idea. It's never the idea. I mean, look, yeah, ways, sure, great. But they got to execute. You have to execute. Being an entrepreneur is about execution, and knowing where you're good at executing matters. Are you good at the beginning? Are you good at the middle? Are you good at the scale? And, that's to me, those are, I mean, if I had to pick one trait of being a great entrepreneur, I'd say it's honesty.
Oh, okay. Why do you say that?
Well, because you have to be honest with yourself, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what's working, what's not working. Like, you have to constantly be in that conversation, or else you're going to find yourself either wasting time or money or going down the wrong path. I mean, not everything I've done has been successful. And I can tell you, like, my biggest failure was because I refused to pivot because I thought that my idea was the right idea. And had I pivoted, I wouldn't be in the merch business. I would still be in the villa rental business. And, that was just stubbornness and arrogance and youthful exuberance. And I learned from it. And because of it, Inked hit a couple tough spots in our history.
Yeah.
And we've pivoted twice. And now the last pivot's kicked in.
That, because if people look at you and they say, "Oh, Jay, look at his journey. He's so successful. It's so easy. It just comes natural to him. He probably didn't make any mistakes along the way." I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, Jay. Let's pull back the curtain. And what are those war stories?
I mean, the mistake is we launched Inked stores as Cirrus Fitness in 2012. We thought we were going to be able to merge and or buy a major OEM in the fitness space. It was not successful. And then launched our own line of licensed and branded fitness equipment, like yoga mats, medicine balls, stability balls, manufacturing them and then selling them through at retail. Turns out that people don't buy a lot of medicine balls, stability balls, and yoga mats like they buy t-shirts and sweatshirts. So we didn't gain the sales velocity that we were hoping to gain. And it was really expensive, time consuming, and hard to manufacture those specialty items in low quantity with a deep level of personalization, which you need inside of the licensing world. Not to mention the admin was really hard. So we had a choice. And we had burned through a bunch of money, and the choice was we were either going to die, right, or we were going to pivot. And so we pivoted to sell things people buy more of. Literally that simple. Okay. People buy more t-shirts than they do yoga mats. Yeah. And started going, hand to hand and battling it out, and started to sell, what we now know as the promotional, apparel. And then we moved after a while into the hard goods like tumblers and keychains and all that good stuff. And when COVID struck, we were operating as a retail storefront. Oh. Closed the retail storefront and moved the business to on demand, one piece at a time company, so corporate merchant swag stores. Yep. And that's where we've been for really six, almost 7 years. Okay. And we also do bulk orders, obviously, and all forms of decoration. But our core offering is we build, host, manage, and fulfill on-demand company swag stores. So, that started by learning how to decorate a leather medicine ball.
Wow.
And believe me when I tell you, Stacy, That's easy to talk about looking back.
Uh-huh.
Really painful living through.
I've been there, done that. I hear you. Yeah.
And so, you take the pain. You take the pain, and you have to be able to take the pain. My son right now is on his own entrepreneurial journey.
Oh, okay.
Yep. He graduated last year and worked for a company for about 7 months, and just came to me and he said, Dad, he'd been working on a side business, side hustle, and has a technical founder. It's in the SaaS ish space,
Yeah.
and said, I'm ready to go all in. And he's been grinding now without a paycheck for 3 weeks, right? All in, using his own money, financing himself, kind of hustling, balling his fists up. And I sent him a text message last night because they haven't, they're not where everybody thinks you're supposed to be somewhere. And I just said, hey, I said, you didn't make this decision to have, you didn't make this decision to be cashed out or where you need to be after 3 weeks. Wake up tomorrow and do the right thing. Now, he didn't need that text message from me, but I feel like I'm sharing a journey with him.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. It's wake up and do the right thing. And if you do that over and over and over and over and over and over again, then you are going to be successful. You just are. And that success is going to potentially be defined by money,
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to be defined by when you do fail, you'd have no regret and know that you gave it your best chance. And, that sounds super, pie in the sky that doesn't feed my family and that doesn't pay the bills. But look at the stats. 1% of all businesses that are launched in the United States, 1% ever reach $1 million in revenue.
Yeah.
0.2%. 0.2% reach 10 million. I mean, the stats are just, it's against you. So if you're not willing to accept the results as they are, then it's, you probably should work for somebody else and not take on that risk. And, as I said to him when he was ready to make that decision, I said, look, don't minimize, like, it's painful to go to work for somebody else every day and supplant your own dream.
Mm-hmm.
Don't minimize how painful it is to watch your bank account just go down one way. Whatever you choose, there's pain. Nothing's free.
Mm-hmm.
You work for someone, there's misery in that.
Yes.
You launch your own.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Your franchisees come to you and they're like, oh, Stacy, this is the greatest thing ever. Some of them do, but not every day.
That's right.
This is a battle. Like life and work and business, it's a battle. And not every day is going to be great. Not every moment is going to be great. And, you just gotta, zoom out, zoom out. Am I mostly happy? Do I wake up on Monday mornings and I'm good with where I'm at?
Yeah.
Or do I have do I get the Sunday scare? A lot of people think like I go out on my own, I'm not going to have the Sunday scaries anymore. It's like, no, you may. My experience in those situations it's usually a case of not doing the right thing.
Yeah. It seems kind of clear as you've shared your journey, a lot of it, and you've mentioned the word a few times, relationships. It's all like revolved around relationships. So talk a little bit more about that. Like, do you think that's the key to success? And do you have to meet the right people in order to be successful?
I mean, who are the right people?
Right.
You never know. I think that you have to present yourself with the openness and authenticity of who you are, and then those right people present themselves to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's more the key, because you have no idea as you go through life who's going to make an impact and who isn't. Who's going to be your who. I'm sure you've heard this story before. I'm going to tell it to you in my version, but you tell me. I'm going to launch a business. I have these 50 people who I'm going to ask to raise money from. And then this is my tranche of the next 50 people. I'm closer to this 50, so I'm probably going to have all the money raised and I won't even get to this 50. How many times have you heard, I haven't gotten anything from the first 50 people that I called, but the second 50 people are the ones who filled my my cap table?
Yeah. For
So
me, it's the people who give me the bitch slap moment that are the most impactful. And sometimes we all need that.
You mean the hold the mirror up to you?
Yeah.
I mean,
The
that's where
reality check. Yeah.
that's where the honesty comes in. But you have to be in a position to receive honesty.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be, like when I was younger, I wasn't in that spot. I mean, again, my journey was after I got clean and sober from gambling at 25. I was up. I took a business. I was part of a business that went to $1 billion. Like I thought I was invincible,
Right.
and my ego got out of control. And because my ego got out of control, I got humbled.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got humbled, I was finally willing to be as honest as I could possibly be. And it's through that rigorous honesty that I was able to then pivot twice and be sitting in this position that I'm at today. So that's not a straight line journey. I like to tell folks that like my line went up, down to the bottom, and then, back up again like that. And that's kind of how it's been. And yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I was just going to say, you probably wouldn't do it any other way.
Well, for me, it's what I know, and it's been my life. I don't know. I've got 3 great kids. My daughter is super successful. She's 25 and lives in New York City, and my son lives in New York City. And again, he's on his own path. And my youngest is 20, and she's in top school at UMass, the Eisenberg School of Business. And I definitely believe in her. She's a killer, really smart kid, and motivated, and work ethic like beyond. I believe part of that came from watching their dad have to rebuild his life after, at a pivotal point in their life when they could understand that I was either going to quit and call it a day, thanks very much, everybody, I can't handle the world, or I was going to, brick by brick, build that back up to where I was or beyond. And it helped shape them. Marriage is terrific because of it. I mean, you just learn so much, and not easy, but I'm happy with my life today, and it's definitely been worth it.
Well, Jay, it's been amazing having you on the show, and something tells me you're not quite done yet. And so, the name of the show is What's Your Next? So I have to ask, what is your next?
What's my next? I just brought on a head of growth.
Oh.
For the business. I've been looking for a unicorn, and I think I found one. Someone who's good at the 2 or 3 things that I think I'm not necessarily good at. I really think that. So I love my company, and I love what I do, and I believe that people are better for knowing me and working with my business versus the others that are out there in the merch and swag space. So I have a deep level of belief in what we do, and I'm interested in getting that message out to as many people as possible and grow. And yes, I will make more money if that happens, and we will be more financially successful. But I'm looking to continue to grow this business. There isn't anything around the corner for me. It's I love what I do. I'm not going anywhere. I don't feel old. I feel vibrant, and I feel like my ideas and my mind is still fresh, and I think I'm on trend. And yeah, what's next for me is going to a place that I've never been, as the CEO of a business, which is 8 figures.
No doubt you're going to achieve it. And something tells me that from having your hands in the dirt, literally, to the many paths you've taken along the way, nothing's going to stop you from achieving it. You've learned so many great lessons along the way. Many of the people in my audience are aspiring business owners. You know, they dream to get close to what you've accomplished. What words of wisdom do you want to leave with them today?
It's never been more accessible than it is today, which is both a positive and a negative, right? The positive is it's never been more accessible. The negative is everybody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the secret. You got to do it.
Simple. Just do it.
It's really the best slogan that's ever been made.
Yeah.
And all the planning in the world is not going to help you. You've got to fall on your face and go. I mean, you just have to do it. You have to get out and take action. Whatever it is you want to do, take action against it. And, if you fail, you fail. If you get laughed at, believe me, I've been laughed at many times. If you get laughed at, you get laughed at. And that's what it is. So, I mean, you just be action biased and you'll end up winning. Because what happens is if you're action biased and you do it and you fail, then you do it again and you do it right. Like, you just learn so much. Nobody ever learned to ride a bike by looking at a bike.
I've never met a successful person who doesn't have tons of these failure stories, right? So fail hard, fail fast, and get up and get into action.
That's all. Get into action. Take action. That's my advice. Action.
Jay, awesome conversation today. Where and how can people get in touch with you?
Super easy. Jay@inkstores.com. JAY@INKDSTORES.com. I also post on LinkedIn every single day. So 7 days a week for almost a year and a half. You'd think I'd have more followers, but that's okay. But yeah, it's original content. I don't use AI. It comes from my mind. I talk about subjects that interest me, post videos of merch and, videos like this of, it's merch, entrepreneurial, recovery, and golf, and my beagles.
Life stories, like life memes, life stories.
That's pretty much it. And so get a hold of me there or LinkedIn, and or email or LinkedIn, and I take calls with everybody. I never say no, and respond immediately. It's a sickness.
All right, everybody, you heard it here from Jay. Go follow him on LinkedIn, comment, and, share his posts. We can't control the algorithm, but we can certainly follow Jay and his words of wisdom. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today on another episode of What's Your Next, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.